Hiya, we're doing lesson 5 now. It's the last one, and I'm just going to find the, because I'm looking on my screen here, and as it says, it's the dawn of a new and better art of healing is upon us, and that's what he truly felt in 1931. And he just emphasises here that the remedies don't need the physical symptoms in order to start working on the emotional cause, since they take no account of them. In other words, don't ask yourself how you feel, ask how you feel about the way you feel. So it does take a bit of thinking about, and as I may have mentioned before, it's much easier to look at what someone else needs rather than what we need. So this is the consolidation and bringing it together. And the page 2, it talks about the fact that there's no one remedy for gout or ME or any physical symptom that you can think of. But different people suffering the same physical problem will take different remedies if their personalities are different. So they could have the same thing wrong with them. You could have the same thing wrong as me and the lady next door and the man down the road. We could have exactly the same physical symptoms, but the cause could be different. So here's 3 people here with the same physical problem, and these are going over what you've already done before. So hopefully you've already had a look and had to think about what this person needs. So they both start off with the same story. I get stomach pains after every meal. I've always been a worrier, I suppose, and it's been much worse since I had children. Even now they're grown up, I'm terrified in case something happens to them. So the one for being specifically worried about something, and this isn't just one specific worry, it's the family, could be a child, a friend, and that's the red chestnut one. That's a lovely one to remember. If you're over worried about your child or your husband or your wife or your sister or anybody, red chestnut is the one for you. If, for instance, in a birth situation, a woman's giving birth, she would need rescue remedy, a general one, but red chestnut might be something that she'd need because she's worried about the baby, you see. And if the father is in the room, or even if he isn't in the room, he'd be worried about both of them, wouldn't he? So you can imagine that rescue remedy would be good for them to have as an emergency, but it isn't in red chestnut isn't in there, so they would need red chestnut. The second one, I get stomach pains after every meal. I can't make up my mind whether or not to go to the doctor with it, but then I'm just not a very decisive person, I suppose. And so that could be scleranthus. Can't make up their mind. So they're not asking anyone, they're just weighing it up in their head, and so scleranthus is the one. I get stomach pains after every meal. I don't know why, because I'm always very careful about what I eat, and I never drink more than a single glass of wine a day. My wife says it's because I drive myself too hard, but there it is. I've got standards and I'm not about to let them slip. So someone that's very hard on themselves, they have high standards, nothing wrong with that, but this person, it's giving them the stomach pains, and this is when it's just going that bit too far, and it's the rock water, being too hard on yourself. And the rock water one, that's where it can come back on you, and often with arthritis and other aches and pains, because the body is so rigid with needing, and it's a coping mechanism as well, because it's a comfort to know exactly what you're going to do, and So it's nice to be able to let that go a little bit, and rock water would be the one, just what they need. So page 3, fill in the blanks on the following sentence remedy description. If you keep making the same mistakes, you might need chestnut bud. Chestnut buds for keep making the same mistakes. Rock water people are very strict with themselves. No, not anybody else, but with themselves. Someone who always laughs off a problem instead of facing them needs agrimony. Agrimony is the one that you hide how you are. Oh yes, I'm fine, and actually you're not. And agrimony is the one. Lots of people actually need agrimony. The worst kind of ultimate despair and unbearable anguish calls for sweet chestnut. That's the ultimate one. It's rock bottom, and that's where sweet chestnut really comes into its own. People who get depressed when things go a bit wrong need gentian, because things are going to be going wrong, aren't they? So it could be that they'll need gentian always in their bottle, because things go wrong all the time and they get easily put off. So rock rose is the remedy for terror, and it's in Rescue Remedy for that reason, because if you're in an accident or you saw an accident, then you would definitely need rock rose to help calm you down, because your adrenaline levels will be up here and your body needs to balance down. When you know what you want to do but you don't trust your own decision, you need Serato. That's with the C, Serato. If it's not that it's going around in your head thinking, oh, what shall I do? It's you're asking other people because you're not trusting your own judgment. So Serato. People in this state suffer from very negative feelings toward others, like envy, hatred, suspicion, and revengeful thoughts. And that would be Holly. 9. These people criticize others and find it difficult to be tolerant of other ways of life. And that would be Beach. If you are living in the past, you need Honeysuckle. Yeah, honeysuckle's a lovely one for helping you to live in the present and move forward. We're now going to look at knowing ourselves, and as Robbie Burns said, oh, would the power some gifty give us to see ourselves as others see us, because we don't see ourselves as others see us. And as I said, it's so much easier to choose remedies for other people. So for many of us, learning to choose the remedy is a journey of self-discovery. Learning things about yourself that you hadn't realised. Your reactions, your feelings, your fears. And so it might surprise you. It won't surprise other people so much. When I discovered that impatience was one of mine, it didn't surprise anybody but me. So there you go. Part of the healing then is knowing yourself, and knowledge like this is a healthy thing to have. Maybe you've already given yourself some thought to what basic type remedy you might need. And if you haven't, maybe you'd like to think now. I think these are the 2 easiest questions to answer. There are more in the workbook. So if you look at the list of remedies that you've got, and you try to identify the one that most closely fits the way you normally are. And if you can't decide, these questions might help. So what's one quality you don't have you would like to possess? So what's the one quality that you would like? Maybe it's to be less impatient, less intolerant of other people. Maybe people annoy you. It could be that you'd like to be, that you don't want to feel sorry for yourself, and that but you tend towards that for whatever reason. You might have a very, very good reason, but it really doesn't make you very happy. So, but we're not one-dimensional, are we? We all can feel a bit like this or a bit like that at different times, but our core, the way we are, is usually quite steady. So have you recognised what your type would be? So here we've got a quiz. We've just got 9 questions on this one. Can you take the Bach flower remedies at the same time as other medicines? Yes, there is no contraindications. Are there any physical symptoms that provide clues about which remedy to select? No, no physical symptoms. Why did Dr. Bach believe that the remedies he had discovered would be valid for all time? Well, he certainly felt that having problems back in the 30s of worrying about the family, people worried about cholera, they worried about wars, they worried about having no money. Think of today, the worry about disease, worried about wars, worried about the family. And if you've gone abroad, which I'm sure you probably have, and you met people from other countries, they have the same worries we do. They might have a completely different culture, but they will have exactly the same worries. So the worries are the same as what they've had 100 years ago, just about different things, but the feelings are the same. So the remedies will always be current. What are the indications for water violet? Well, water violet people like to be on their own, and they can be thought of as quite proud, and they like their own company. So heather and water violet people are opposite. Heather are called the buttonholers. They like to talk to people. They need company. So they find someone, they will latch onto them and keep them talking. Water violet are the exact opposite. They are quite happy for people to think what they think and go their own way. And they are happy in their skin, which is a lovely way to be. But sometimes they can fall into loneliness themselves because they've done such a good job at isolating themselves. So what positive quality does impatience represent? Well, they're able to do things, able to get things done. So that's very positive, isn't it? So impatiens and beach people can both be irritated by others. What's the difference between them? Well, impatiens people are irritated because people are slow, because you ask somebody maybe to do something for you and then you think, oh, it'd been quicker if I'd done it myself. And that's where often parents make that mistake with the children, and they do the rooms for them because the children don't do the room maybe to their standard or quick enough. And yeah, so it's just that, so they end up doing more because people are so slow. Beach people are just irritated by people anyway, whether they're slow or fast. So they haven't got any patience with people in any given situation. So Serato is for not feeling confident in your own decision. Yeah, it's needing to validation, asking people, what do you think? Do you think that's the right thing to do? When you know it's the right thing to do, really, but you've lost your confidence with making decisions. As I say, scleranthus is the time when you're deciding between a couple of things and it's in your head. You think, shall I have George or Henry? You know, that sort of thing. But Serato, you'd be asking, oh, what do you think? Do you think this is the right? No, that would be, you need Serato so that you can feel confident. If you wanted to be more self-reliant and be able to enjoy being alone, would you take water violet? Or no, you wouldn't. You can't take it for being like the person that you would. It could be that you'd need chicory. Maybe you'd have to look into it a bit more. But I'm just thinking sometimes chicory people are a bit needy. Heather for needing to talk to people. Chicory and heather are both lonely people. So if you'd like to be more reliant, it depends which way you are affected. So it's something to think about, isn't it? I'm going to stop this now and I'll make another video. Yeah, so I'll see you for the next half of the last lesson.